All right, so what's going on, everybody? Sorry for a bit of the delay. I know we had to switch links, but that's what happens in live show business sometimes. So this is Andre Johnson. I'm so excited to bring you guys this schedule reveal show. This is something brand new. We're hoping to really start a trend here. And of course, I'm not here alone. Please, Jared, do you even have to introduce yourself at this point? Like, let's be real here.
I appreciate that, Andre. I appreciate it. But for those who don't know me, Jared Valluzzi of Uzi Sports. Been covering New York City football for a little bit now, and yeah, I'm pumped to work with Andre and Sage Media, and you guys are in for a treat with this schedule reveal. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And of course, for a minute, I almost left you out there, Coach. So, of course, we have Coach Mac of Move the Chains. I'm sure you've been to some of his events and seen some of his events, like the Rising Star Bowl, the 8th grade New Jersey versus New York game. Coach Mac, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Listen, man, I'm real excited for this. A lot went into this, of course. This is we've been planning this for months. And, Sage Media really started with just taking the stats for Eagle Academy in 2016. So to see it kind of get to this point is really awesome. So really appreciate you guys for joining us and getting to unveil this schedule. So, of course, we're going to go over some rules real quick, but just to show you guys how the chat works. My guy Jello, appreciate the emojis. So as you can see, this is going to be very interactive. We are live. We're not recording this. You can see I just threw that up on the screen. So we're going to go over some of the rules in the chat, of course, and we're hoping to keep, you guys have seen that we've had the chat in, previous live streams, and we're hoping to keep that going. And it can only continue if you guys follow these rules I'm about to put up on the screen here. So number 1, be respectful. And number 2 is really like the most important one to me. Interact with the host, not with football fan 123. What does that mean? You are never, whoever is talking mess to you in the chat, you're never going to see them in real life. It's a troll. Do not really interact. Like, I understand that if you want to, cheer for your team, let's go XYZ team or whatever, but interact with the host. If I see too much, back and forth in the chat, I'm just going to time you guys all out. I'm just going to ban you. Let's skip to number 4. I have moderators. We have Kyle in here. We have Zoe. Let me make sure I can make you a moderator. Well, I have to do that on the app, which is crazy. So I'm going to do that for you in a second, Kyle. But we have our 2 moderators in the chat. Please, moderators, just wave at them real quick so they know you're in here. So they're going to check you guys. And this is not a democracy. They will time you out. They will block you on the first offense. So please be respectful. And just remember, of course, this is sports, but, these are young athletes. I know pretty much most people have played a sport. If you're lucky enough, you played sport at a high level, like varsity, it's not LeBron James and Steph Curry we're talking about. So, of course, we have to be honest, but be respectful and try to stay positive when you're talking about the young student athletes. So, of course, I want to give some quick shout outs. Of course, shot by LJ Lincoln, my guy. Appreciate you. Lincoln was the one who made our logo. I had so much back and forth with him, and he was so great to work with. So please follow my guy Lincoln on Instagram and all of his socials. And of course, Lincoln created all of the graphics that you're going to see here. And just want to give photo credits, Lyle Cage, Football Hub NYC, and of course, TYJ Visuals. So we are about to get started. We're about to unveil the first game. I'm not going to keep you guys here all day. Of course, I'm sure you would love to listen to me talk. Lincoln, what's up, man? See you in the chat. I'm sure you'd like to listen to me talk all day. But Jared, Mac, anything to say before we get into the schedule?
I'm excited about some of these games, man. I'm really excited about talking about some of these games.
Yeah, these are some of the best games in the city right here. If not the best. Let's get into it because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm pumped.
Yes, we're definitely going to get into it. Just want to shout out Lincoln real quick. Appreciate you, bro.
Lincoln,
Give you that quick shout out.
Lincoln.
All right. So with no further ado, let's get into the first Sage Standout game of the week. And of course, we're going to the Floss, man. We're going to the Floss. Canarsie with their brand new field playing host to Lincoln. So this matchup to me is huge for Canarsie, of course, opening up a new campaign on the new field. I'm pretty sure they have quite a few new coaches. Jared did a great job interviewing those guys, so please check that out. But they have a lot to prove. And Jared, let's talk about it from the Canarsie point of view first. Just talk about what they have packing, especially on the defensive line.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a new Canarsie team. Of course, a couple new coaches joining Coach Ellis. And listen, they are not playing around. I sat down with, all those new members, and they got an amazing culture that, they're instilling over there. And I mean, you mentioned the defensive line. Coach Chad from Erasmus Hall, who had all those amazing D linemen throughout the years, had, one of the best defensive lines in the Northeast. He's now with Canarsie, and he's developing some really good young players as, Christian King, Sincere Hester, Krishawn Pilgrim, who I did a video on. Like, these are some really talented D linemen, and they're going to give pretty much anyone trouble in the PSAL when you look at it, especially with what Coach Chad's doing. But they're going to have their hands full of Lincoln, though, to start off.
Yeah, especially, Lincoln is returning their entire offensive line. Of course, they do have some questions at quarterback. Who's going to start for them? I know they have a transfer from Eagle Academy coming over, and, they have some young quarterbacks, a young quarterback as well, having the interview with O'Connor. So, Mac, what do you see in this matchup?
This is a tough one for me, man. This was pretty much one of the only games on this list that I didn't really know the outcome of.
Oh, really?
A lot of things happen on both sides.
Mac will be running a FanDuel, so go talk to him and take his picks, because he already knows who's going to win all the games.
This was the only game on this prop. This is another game that we have, but this was one of the games that I didn't really know who would come out here. Both teams had a lot of moves in the offseason. Like you mentioned, Lincoln graduated Nasim. And they have Christian, Bori, and they have Corey there, the transfer from Eagle.
Yes.
So that's unknown how that's going to work out there. And then, like you guys said, the whole Chad Ellis joining Canarsie, brought a lot of talent there. They already had some pieces in place. So this is probably going to be one of the toughest decisions. I should be good from here on predicting the winner. I wanted to go on record, but I can't. This is one of the two games that I can't call.
Yeah, and I definitely want to say that, we're going to see what this Canarsie defensive line has right away. Again, Lincoln returning all of their offensive line. And I just want to shout out for sure Cayenne Filbert.
Oh, yeah.
That's a name that everyone should know. When I saw the film I've seen on him, he's a big guy. He's probably 210, and he doesn't move like he's 210. He doesn't move in a straight line like he's 210. He doesn't move laterally like he's 210. Like, this guy is very quick of feet, powerful running back, and can really do it all. So I know they have some questions at quarterback. They have to get that together. And I will say, to be a new quarterback and to open up in the Floss is going to be tough for whoever, Coach O'Connor chooses. So it's going to be a huge test for the quarterbacks, but it really is great when you have such a good offensive line and a running back to lean on. So any last words before we move on to the next game, guys?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Lincoln, Cayenne Filbert, Cody Gillespie, and with them, because you already mentioned, like, Cayenne at 210 pounds, this is going to be a physical Lincoln run attack. Like, they are going to really run hard up the middle and just move the chains, and that's going to be a good test for Canarsie's front seven that has high expectations. I mean, this is just such an awesome matchup to start out, And it's really, two teams from Brooklyn that it's going to be a good one.
No, absolutely. And the last thing I want to mention on this game as well is Canarsie is playing with that higher rating. So let's say if Canarsie finishes 4-4, their 4-4 is going to be weighed heavier than another team's 4-4. So any win Canarsie gets this year is essentially weighted higher for the playoffs. So definitely want to
tough start
throw
to
that in
too, man. Like they have
for sure.
A couple tough games. Yeah.
Mac, last word to you.
No, man. I really hope I can make this game. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the season.
All right. Well, let's see about this next game. Game 2. We're going over to Staten Island. And it's the Curtis Warriors versus the Wagner Falcons. Now, I want to say that this game was lopsided in this same affair last year. But, Wagner was a team. They finished 4-4. They made the playoffs. And to me, it's such an important year for Curtis. We will have one of our guests come on and talk about the state of Staten Island football, because I'll come out and say it right now and we can have a discussion. I think Staten Island as a whole is the best borough in New York. If you include Catholic League and, the PSAL. That's my opinion. I know it's kind of hard to say because, you have so many teams in Brooklyn. But, Curtis is always a team that is almost always book their ticket for the Final Four. So, Jared, how about you just talk a little bit about this game?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting. And you mentioned, first off, shout out to Staten Island. They love their football over there. There are so many good programs across the PSAL and the Catholic League that that has a ton of talent. But yeah, let's get into it. This Curtis team, we talked about the running back duo at Lincoln. You gotta look at the running back duo at Curtis, man. Quadier Gomez, who's just gonna be a sophomore, incredible. He's really, really talented. The kid they call Mookie as well at running back. The kid Nick, he's gonna have a really big season. Curtis, of course, always big on the line and on either side. And they're gonna be tough in the trenches. So, and of course they return Van Mennen, who's seen in the picture at quarterback. This is gonna be a good Curtis offense. But Wagner, it's a wait and see because they graduated Anthony Batista, Mason Ayala, all those amazing seniors. But I was actually watching a kid earlier today, Anthony Hooker at Wagner. Like, he's a really talented defensive back. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does against, maybe he's matched up with, Evan Dukes out of Curtis, who's one of the top receivers in Staten Island and the entire PSAL. So, there's some great players on both sides, and Wagner, they're going to have some good up-and-coming players that are going to step up, make a name for themselves. It should be fun.
Coach Mack?
Yeah, I think I got Curtis on this game, but Wagner is always going to be a tough team to play. Coached up well, kids respond well to the coaches. Curtis has a lot of returning guys. Quarterback is returning. Not too sure what Wagner has returning. I know Jared touched on some points about Wagner. I think Curtis wins by 2 or more touchdowns.
Okay, got you. So I'm going to cue it up here. We actually are bringing in our first guest of the day. I'm sure many of you in the chat, especially in Staten Island, he's probably coached you because he's coached some of the top talent out in Staten Island. So we have one of the leading coaches of the Staten Island Hurricanes, Coach Trilz.
Hey, what's up, Jim?
Coach, what's going on, man?
What's
Can
up?
you hear
What's
us?
up? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm about to make you the big screen, man.
Okay.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having you.
How's it
Appreciate you
going?
coming on.
I appreciate you having me. It's a great thing you're doing right now, honestly. Thank you.
Nah, I really appreciate it. And I really wanted to have you on here, especially someone from the Hurricanes, because you guys have been so influential for the past 20. You guys been around for 20 years, is it?
We're going into our 23rd season. We're preparing for
Wow.
it right now. Yeah.
So 23 years. And like I said, I mean, you guys have coached some of the top talent in Staten Island. We always talk about, Quincy going to Curtis, and they were the last people to beat E-Hall. We'll see if E-Hall comes on his list. Spoiler, of course they will. But You've coached some of the top talent, and I just want to have you on to ask you specifically about what you think about Staten Island. So this matchup intrigues me because, I'd say Curtis had a bit of a down year last year. They did finish at 5-3. They were in the Final Four, but they looked really shaky in that first round of the playoffs against JFK, and then it wasn't much of a matchup against E Hall. So I feel like this is a huge opportunity for Wagner to really delay a marker, especially when it comes to where kids decide to go. So what do you think about Curtis this year, Coach?
Oh, well, you're right. Last year they didn't have a down year, so they got to get back to the Curtis of old. But I think they got a good shot this year to be competitive, to be in the run-ins. They got a lot of returning offensive linemen, returning defensive linemen. They're probably bigger than they've been in many years up front. They got the returning quarterback plus incoming transfer. So there's a little quarterback challenge up there. They got some receivers returning. They got the running backs returning. So they should definitely be in the running this year.
Jared, I'll throw it to you real quick if you have any questions. Jared, I think you're muted.
I know this past team with the Staten Island Hurricanes was really, really successful. Like, there's some great, 2028 prospects. So, like, how excited are you to, see these kids, enter high school and do their things, whether it's on Staten Island or, throughout any other?
It's great. Well, first of all, it's not just Staten Island. We coach kids Brooklyn, Bronx, New Jersey. Kids travel all over to play with us because we're going to prepare them, for that next level. So when they get there, it's one thing going to watch a game, but when you're watching a game that you've seen this kid mature from a little type to now he's this grown man and he's on the field putting on, it's just something different. It's a different type of feeling.
Mac?
I have a question, Coach. Who do you think is the best high school team in Staten Island right now?
Without bias, Tottenville.
Without bias,
Tottenville.
Is that including Catholic schools?
Without bias, Tottenville.
Wow.
Tottenville, they were young last year in the up in the championship.
Yeah.
Right.
At least one score, maybe two scores. But like I said, they were young. They had that whole team turning. They're tough. They're going to be really tough for the next 2 years.
And Coach, I just want to bring in a quick. So I threw in a hot take for sure when I said I believe that Staten Island is the best. Is the best. And when I said that, I'm looking at the totality. I'm looking at Monsignor Farrell knocking on the door, easily a top 4 team in the Catholic League, made it to the semifinals, knocking on the door to another championship. I'm looking at more Catholic. I know they have at least 2 Division I prospects in Pacheco and the safety. I'm sorry for getting the safety's name, Vanderbilt. So looking at more Catholic, and of course, with Tottenville, Curtis, Wagner. I mean, how many we had? Wagner, Curtis, Port Richmond, and Tottenville. So we had 4 Staten Island teams in the playoffs last year. So it might have been a little bit of a hot take, but what do you think when it comes to Staten Island versus Brooklyn?
Once again, I got to take bias out of it because I am a Staten Islander, born and raised Staten Islander. But I seen Wagner in the 80s and 90s dominate. I seen Curtis in the late 90s, early 2000s dominate. Tottenville is always in the picture. They got their championships. If you look at, like you said, the totality of the wins and losses, it's Staten Island. Brooklyn, they do very well. They do very well, especially E Hall. He does very well getting his kids together, preparing them. He's been in the championship and winning championships for several years now. But when you look at the totality of it, it's Staten without a doubt.
Jared, last word.
I mean, I'm gonna have to agree, especially when you get the Catholic schools.
Wow, look what I started.
I'll hop on that train just because I think Farrell, St. Peter's, more Catholic, really good program. So I know this year I think Staten Island's got the edge when you look at it overall, but it's definitely close though. But that was fun.
No, I got you. So, Coach, any last words? Please, promote what you guys got going on and talk about, all the great work you guys do with the Staten Island Hurricanes.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're preparing for our 23rd season. We have teams right now from 7 to 12 years old. This year, we didn't have 13-year-old team for whatever reasons, but we're just ready. We're getting ready to rock. Last year, we won a national championship on the 13U division. We have,
wow, congrats.
In the last 23 years, we have 15 national championships. So, we're just getting ready to rock, getting the kids ready, and go for another national run.
Got you. How does my audio sound, by the way? Am I a little choppy?
You're choppy to me, yes.
All right, so I will.
Wasn't sure if it was my earphones or not.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I'll try to fix my. How do I sound now?
So,
How do I sound now?
still choppy. Not still choppy.
Okay, so I'll fix my stuff in a second.
So,
all right, so I got you guys. So, Coach, really appreciate you. We're going to move on to the next game. And, feel free to stay in the backstage and get your little front row seat. Appreciate you, Coach.
All right, thank you. Have a good one, guys.
All right, so I know I sound a little choppy right now, so I'm going to go right to this next game, week 3. We have one of the classic matchups in the Bowl division, in Eagle Academy versus Madison. So, Jared, I'm going to fix my audio. I'm going to let you take this away.
Yeah, this one's a very, very interesting matchup. Of course, it's another two Brooklyn teams going at it. But for Madison, what I'm really looking forward to is this is going to be like a whole new group, basically, because last year, especially when you look at like the skill positions, Aaron Ellis, Emerald Smart, Dylan Cobham, of course, you had one of the best linebackers in the state within Quadir McEachin. All those guys were seniors, and Madison had, a fair share of success, especially in the beginning of the season. They beat Curtis. And then, they played Tottenville pretty tough before losing to them. And then I know at the end of the season, they suffered some tough losses. But, Madison, they bring a strong defense. They showed it last season. So now I'm kind of interested to see, what these new guys are up to. And, of course, when Andre comes back, he's all about Eagle. He can definitely take it from there. But I'm definitely interested to see, how these two teams match up, especially an Eagle team that I saw one of the headlines, Eagles staying in the 4A. They are here to stay. So I'm excited what they got in store.
So did this game happen last year, right? And I believe that Eagle won. Yeah. Eagle won 23-12 last year. I know Eagle has some transfers too. They have a couple kids that transferred in that can help them tremendously this year. I'm not too sure about Madison. Like you said, from that senior class, I haven't really heard anything about what's going on over there. So this game should be interesting.
How's my audio sound right now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, better for sure.
All right, just had to make a quick audible. So yes, of course, this is a team I've been very close with over the years, and Eagle Academy. One thing about Eagle is that they're always going to be in it. Always going to be in it. They're a school of about 300, and we have a guest on to come on. I'm going to set him up here, but they're about a school of about 300, and they always have tough kids. They always have kids who are going to compete until the last minute. And one thing that people might not really know, or maybe they overlooked it, is that Eagle, out of their 9 games, they played all but one game on the road. So they finished one game outside of the playoffs, playing all their games on the road. 2 of those games, they were up a touchdown going into the second half of the last quarter. So easily, if the ball had dropped a different way, Eagle could have been in that 8-7 spot in the playoffs. So of course, I'm going to cue up to someone who knows Eagle pretty well. He's been the coach of Eagle Academy for, I want to say 14 years, but he'll come on and correct me. Coach Jones, welcome to the show, man. How you doing? Can you hear us?
Hey, you good? How you doing, Sage Media?
I appreciate you, man. Again, Sage Media has grown with Eagle, and you've been a large part of that. So give you your flowers publicly. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of Eagle.
Man, thank you for allowing Eagle to grow with Sage Media. Not only you, Andre, but all you guys on the screen right now, what you guys are doing for the kids, it's amazing, man. It is amazing. So I got to give all you guys your flowers because New York City misses this.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate that. We're glad it's back. This is awesome.
Man, anytime.
Hey, Coach. So let's just talk about, of course, I think the number one thing with Eagle is your quarterback situation. You had, Corey Reese leave the program, but you have someone in Cody Williams who's coming in, and I know everyone in the building thinks very highly of him. So how about you talk about your new quarterback?
Hey, I'm excited to have Cody. Cody does everything well. Like I said earlier, it was just Corey was just a little bit stronger, but they were both juniors last year, so there's a big difference between a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, and now Cody's finally turning 17 and he's growing into his body, and we're gonna be all right. When we're gonna be very good.
Pass it over to Jared, of course.
And Coach, so of course you're talking about the quarterback play, but how about up front for you guys? On the line, I saw you guys might have someone coming in maybe on the offensive
line. Yeah, I was going to touch on that, Jared. Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah. I saw. I was on Instagram and I'm scrolling through and I see a familiar face that a kid that when I was coaching in New York City, I was trying to get out of the 8th grade. And to see that piece into you guys building, yeah, I know what the kid brings. I'm not sure if others know. It's a very tough kid. That I know that's going to help you guys out tremendously.
Coach, can you talk about it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I feel like when it's on social media,
like you said, sometimes you go into the transfer portal and you lose things. Sometimes you go into the transfer portal and you gain things.
Yeah.
So, up front, we got the two twins, the Villanova brothers.
Yes.
Us. They played in your
Rise
Yeah.
Mac. We have 2 more returning seniors who definitely Aiden Rivera is going to be a beast for us at the center position. Ryan Patrick is also going to be there. And so, I hope the big transfer could get on the field.
I love it.
I'm sure he'll find his way somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to stick him in somewhere,
Yeah.
Like I hope he has his work cut out for him because one good thing about Eagle, we're a brotherhood, and so like I said, the Villanova's been there since they've been in 6th grade, so they're not going to come in there. They're not going to be a punk to nobody. This is Eagle. This is where they first experienced everything in. Because could you imagine coming in as a 6th grader and being in the school, and now you're a big 12th grader? You didn't seen a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I definitely are excited about our big dudes up front. We lost Leonard and we lost David, but we'll be all right. We are bringing some young guys up from the JV. JV for the last 2 seasons have been undefeated, so we're gonna be all right up front. and at quarterback, we're going to be good. You know, we got a couple receivers in the transfer portal too.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Don't reveal too much now, coach. Right? Don't get us in trouble.
you know, a lot of people are finally seeing the vision with Eagle. You know, we're a complete school. We want to do the whole child. We're not, yeah, you know, we love football, we love basketball, we love baseball, we love lacrosse, but we want to educate the whole child. And a lot of the parents are now seeing with a lot of these young men that it's important that you educate the whole child.
Mhm.
All
I
right,
want
coach.
to take my hat off to you guys for having, what is it, 300 and something kids or 400 and something kids in a building and still competing in the 4A, man. That's special.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. You know, like I said, it goes back to the whole child thing. And yes, I want to compete and I want to be competitive. And if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And somebody told me the best schools are A. You know, somebody just said the best. So maybe with all three of y'all, could y'all please let them come back and do the Fugazi Bowl with us because they've been ducking Brooklyn.
Oh man,
So
that'd be amazing.
Oh man.
So maybe all three of y'all could y'all get that together? I'm putting it out there for Brooklyn right now. Bring the Fugazi back since Andre Johnson said Staten Island has the best.
I'm on board for that, man. I'm on board.
Hold on a second. Jared also, you know, he kind of agreed.
I was
I
in there
convinced
too.
him.
I'm
Me
only bragging.
and Trilz kind of got to Jared there.
Yeah, but Andre Johnson started it. So at that game where they say Staten Island is the best borough, because like they've been ducking us in the Fugazi Bowl for the last couple of years.
I
Let's
agree.
Fugazi back. You know, Mac, do your thing. Uzi, please come to every school to us and just make sure Andre's around to shoot it.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
appreciate you. Listen, coach, we're gonna let you go now. We want to get this going, but really appreciate you, and we'll be with you all year. And good luck on the season. All right, coach.
Thank you for having me.
All right, coach. All right, guys. So again, that is Eagle versus Madison. We didn't even talk about the game, but trust me, it's a rivalry. Eagle got their first win in program history. It took them 8 tries in 6 years, something like that, and they got it finally. So that's going to be quite the matchup. Talking about a matchup that has some history, it's our next game, E Hall versus Curtis. Now, let me tell you guys something. This week was tough. This week was a tough week to pick. Because if you guys are following, if you're looking at the schedule, Lincoln and Tottenville was also this week. And just so before anyone, don't come for Mac. If you don't like the schedule, don't come for Mac. Don't come for Jared. It was Andre. It was Sage Media who picked out the schedule. And my thinking is, when I created Sage Media, I want the most coverage. Like, I just felt like there was a lack of coverage for our athletes in New York City. I was an athlete out in Long Island, and I felt like I didn't have the coverage that I deserved for some of my efforts. And then when I came back in around 2016, 2017, I kind of saw the same landscape. So the tiebreaker when it came to this game was Lincoln has their own live streaming, so you guys will also be able to see that game. I'm pretty sure if that game's at Tottenville, sorry, but spoilers, Tottenville is going to be on this list later, right? So let's just get into this game. E Hall versus Curtis. I feel like no matter the state of Curtis is always going to give E Hall games. Jared, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean Curtis. Of course, they're always in the mix, and what's interesting that Coach mentioned earlier is Curtis is big. They have really good size, which is going to be important going against an Erasmus Hall team that is going to have a good D line. Of course, Erasmus Hall's offensive line is outstanding. They return some of the biggest guys and most talented in the PSAL, so that's going to be a good matchup. The trenches, and it's going to be really important. And if Curtis is able to get, those talented skill players into space, it should be fun. But then at the end of the day, Curtis going against this Erasmus Hall secondary that is the best secondary in New York State, it's gonna be fun. Like this is prime time. This is classic. You know, PSAL, two of the best going at each other. It's gonna be fun.
Coach?
Last year's score was 40-13.
Wow.
In Erasmus's favor. I don't see that happening this year. I'm predicting a much closer game. I think it's gonna be a shootout again, but more so maybe 42-34, 42-30. I don't think it's gonna be that lopsided. But in my opinion, I do think that Erasmus has more talent overall. Not sure if Curtis is going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, and one thing when I think about E-Hall, I go back to that Rising Star game where they had Locke, and I'm sorry I'm forgetting the other name, but they had
Rich
two.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah.
Yes,
Richard.
and yes, Rich Paul, not Rich Hall. You said right?
Richard Paul.
Richard
Oh,
Paul.
Paul
Richard
with a
Paul.
P.
Thank you, Wayne. I mean, when I was looking at those two, we always know what E-Hall is going to bring in the front seven. Like we always know what they're going to bring. And what I loved from those two was how aggressive they were coming downhill. You know, you're an E-Hall guy. You got to figure with your front seven, the teams are not going to have a lot of time to take a 7-step drop in and throw the ball deep most of the times. So you got to be really ready to come downhill, maybe force a turnover or something like that. And that's what I saw from those two guys. So knowing E-Hall's front seven and seeing those two, the way they performed in that Rising Stars game, I think E-Hall is going to be, I mean, they were going for number 6 for a reason. And we're bringing in our next guest, and I'm really happy to have this guy on because when I had the pleasure of interviewing Coach Lamberg, you know, I learned a lot about Mr. Wayne Morgan. He is one of the forefathers of E-Hall. You know, he really got this whole train going. So all the E-Hall hate, you can direct it right to him. It was his doing. All of this. I see him laughing in the camera. It was Wayne's doing of all of this. And, you know, of course, Wayne, he also has his lights out performance line and his clothing line, all that kind of stuff. We're promoting all the good stuff, all the positivity in this community. So we welcome Coach Wayne Morgan.
My guys. Thanks for having me, man.
What's up, Wayne?
Yes, sir. We here, baby. Let's do it.
Wayne, what's going on, man? So listen. First of all, let me just put this on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne is NYC football. Like I said publicly, I definitely want to give you your flowers. You know, me and you came around the same era. You know, I'm just a kid from Long Island playing football. I didn't really know what was going on in the city, to be honest. You know, I was just worried about trying to figure out how I'm going to beat Cardinal Hayes and Monsignor Farrell and all that. So I definitely want to give you your flowers publicly, man. You know, from E-Hall to Syracuse right in the back. Now you're back, giving back to the kids. So really appreciate everything you do, man.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
Andre, you mentioned a school just now, man. It's kind of ironic. You said Cardinal Hayes, and we have that.
Man.
I don't want to sway off topic, but you mentioned it, and it's the elephant in the room. I wasn't gonna mention it until somebody else did, but since you did,
this was not planned.
Not doing it, right? You see how he set it up.
But Andre introduced the elephant in the room. So before we even get on to this Curtis game, Wayne, your thoughts on the Cardinal Hayes game scrimmage?
Yeah, so that's something I was gonna bring here. Well, you guys already know it's not an official game anymore, but you know, we still gonna treat it as if it's a real game. I was kind of disappointed because you know we want to give the city, you know, what they want, because that's what is really more. It's more about, I guess, the bragging rights in the city. And
definitely.
you know, we, you know, as a staff, being on the coaching staff now, it kind of, we did definitely felt a certain way about not being on the top 100. And of course, them having, you know, Cardinal Hayes, I give them their flowers. They deserve to be on there. I think they had Will Ferrell on there. You know, we felt the way about that.
They had 4,
And
yeah,
I'm gonna
4
let it be
Catholics.
known. Me personally, I did because it's like they do great stuff over there. I commend them, but it's about us. I don't really, speak about other teams, but
Definitely.
we've been putting on for so long. We've been in the championship
Yo,
last 12 years. How can we not be on the top 100 is the real question.
totally
I
agree.
know when we played the non-conference games, obviously we came up short. But at the end of the day, we still like nobody hasn't beaten us yet to really prove that they're better than us. So, but other than that, it is what it is. But I'm definitely looking forward to playing Cardinal Hayes. We've been wanting to play in the Catholic League for a while now, and I feel like I hope the PSAL is watching this. I really hope one day that we can have a battle between the Catholic League and the PSAL, and who the
We're
winner
working
of
on it,
that
man.
game should be determined who goes to states, because
We're working on it.
it don't make sense that we have all these different leagues in the same city, and then you could crown just one. Like it don't. You got to figure out a way. Obviously
It's not fair to y'all.
yeah, it's not.
Hayes is talking about we are New York, and I feel
That's
like
the thing. They want one state title, and like I said again, I respect them. I give them their flowers, But it's not. I'm not really speaking about them. It's more so about us right now. And like, I know people tired of Erasmus. I'm tired of Erasmus. You know what I mean?
You
So
took that from.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. But at the end of the day, you gotta give respect when it's due. We got 4 guys playing in the NFL. We have a tremendous system going on. A lot of our guys graduate early. I'm not sure if you guys even know that, but I was the only player that didn't graduate early. After me, everybody graduated early. So now we have like a full system. But I'm looking forward to the scrimmage, and I know they got some good players over there. They have a good quarterback, a hard-nosed running back, and they have I think a D tackle you got to worry about, and they have a good receiver on the end, number 8. He goes for the ball. Yep, I like him.
Mm-hmm.
We looking forward to it, man. Just putting on for the city.
So I know we took a little detour.
No, we
But
had
no,
to. We had to
we have
get that
to,
out the
we
way.
had to, we had to,
Yeah,
we had to, right?
yeah.
No, but it's funny because Rich Beelan is pretty sure he's committed to Syracuse. So maybe you can talk a little game to him at the scrimmage.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's all city love at the end of the day.
Of course.
I want to see guys go places, because once they go someplace, wherever they go, as a city, we all behind you. No matter if you're from Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, it don't really matter. You here in New York, we're gonna support. So definitely happy for all the guys that's getting college recognition right now.
So Wayne, let's just get back to the Curtis game. Curtis E Hall. I feel like that's one of the, no matter the state of E Hall. I know you guys got the better of them last year, but no matter the state of E Hall, no matter the state of Curtis, I feel like that is a classic game in the city. Everyone always turns out for that game. You're someone who's played in that game before, and I've seen it from the sideline. So talk about that E Hall Curtis rivalry.
Staten Island period always have tough players. It don't really matter what school, you're gonna have like a few guys that's really, really good. Curtis always been, that, especially when I was playing, they had Dominic Easley, I watched, LeGrand, Shaquan Coles. It was like a whole bunch of talent that came from that school, so they have a tremendous history of great players. So we familiar with that. I've been playing against them guys since I was little league, because they all played for the Staten Island Hurricanes, and they all eventually ended up going to either Curtis or Tottenville. So, I was super familiar with everybody. But I feel like this year, I think Mac said they're gonna put up 30 on us. Come on, coach. We didn't give up 30.
We gotta give them some credit, man. They quarterback solid.
Coach, we didn't give up 30 in the PSAL in about 5. Honestly, the last team to score that many points on us was Curtis. And this was like 7 or 16. But that was the last time we gave up that many points. like we went to London. We gave up some points in London, but that team was a legit prep school.
Yeah.
They were 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
We set our guys up, but it's football. At the end of the day, we got to figure it out. But that's too much points, Coach Matt. Come on now, we don't give that. How they gonna score? They're not throwing the ball on us, so they gotta run the ball. But we gonna figure it out. It's old. I love the energy when we play any team from Staten Island, especially Tottenville and Curtis. The energy going into that game is always amazing. We played Curtis actually 2 years ago at Curtis, and that was one of the toughest games. The year that we played Canarsie in the championship, we played Curtis that year, and it was a tough first half. First half was a great game, super physical, and the second half we kind of started pulling away a little bit, but I really commend that team. They were honest. They was playing really good. They have a lot of good players over there. So yeah, we definitely looking forward to Curtis, but the real game is gonna be Tottenville, man.
We're gonna get to that though.
Maybe if we're lucky, it'll show up on the list. No spoilers.
Wait for that. But I love, like I said, I love what you guys are doing. Jared, Coach Mac, Andre, you guys are doing an amazing job for the city. And I definitely want to hope you guys bring me on here again. I'm having some fun.
Definitely, man.
So real quick, I can't let you get away yet because we definitely we stirred the pot a bit talking about Staten Island versus Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It would be remiss of me if I didn't let you have your say on that.
I feel like right now I can't say Staten Island have the best teams because they haven't won in the Catholic League or in the PSAL. I'm not really sure how long. So right now I will say Brooklyn. On the PSAL side. Now,
you got to bring both into it. That's my argument. You have to bring both into it. And Brooklyn is definitely struggling on that side.
What was Farrell's record last year?
Farrell had a solid record.
Let me tell you something. Farrell might have had the best win of the season going to St. Anthony's and winning on the road.
Yeah, really? Farrell was solid.
That was big. They were third place, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Farrell. I mean, I always said this. I even said this on your podcast, Coach Mac. Staten Island always have amazing athletes. Like I told you guys, I've been playing against Staten Island Hurricanes since I was like 10. And every game was a battle. Any other team, we used to smoke every other team by at least 20, 30 points. Because we had just a lot of talent on my teams. But the Hurricanes it's always that game you had to get ready for mentally and physically. Because they was gonna bring it every single time. So the talent in Staten Island is there, no question about that. So in Brooklyn we got the talent. It's tough, man. It's tough. But I'm from Brooklyn, so I cannot say Staten Island. It's like I can't, especially when we've been winning. So I just can't say it. We sending a lot of guys out going to college, which is like the most important thing. We can do this all day, play football, but if the kids are not actually learning and getting into school, what we're doing is a waste. So at the end of the day, as long as the kids is learning how to play the game, we building character, great young men, getting scholarships, and that's pretty much the focus right now. Changing the trajectory of these young men's lives, making sure we mentoring them and getting them prepared for college. Because right now we preparing our guys for college. Like we're thinking college. Like Lyric, I'll be on him every single practice. I want you guys to bring him on here one day and have him speak about how intense I be doing like one-on-one sessions. I do that purposely because I know what they're about to get themselves into, and I hold Lyric to a higher standard just because he's the number one player in the state. When you have that ranking, you got to walk and practice a little different than everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start bringing guys along. So, I like where we are right now. I like what we got. And, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this season.
So listen, I think we had a little bit too much fun on here. You know, we have to keep this show moving.
Yes,
But
sir.
Wayne, please just shout out everything you have going on. Again, you're doing great things for the community. You're giving back to your old school. So just talk about what you got going on. Which on you. Don't forget your hat and what's in the background too.
Of course.
I see that in the background, man.
Yeah. This is something I was working on, a little jacket, but it's some stuff I gotta tweak, so I just keep it.
I need me one of those, man.
Huh?
I need me one of those,
Come on,
man.
Mac. You
Like,
know I got you, Mac. You gotta get with me. I got you, Mac. We gonna do some stuff. Don't worry. But like South, man, I feel like is kind of like my purpose right now to bring up the youngins and you know, just give them the game. I feel like a lot of guys, you know, that I play football with and grew up with, they're not aware that, you know, you always kind of got to give that back. You know, if you got it, I feel like I have so much knowledge. I've played pretty much on every level, so I know how it's supposed to look. You know, I ran track in high school, and which a lot of kids don't know. I be telling them, I be telling the players now. I'm like, bro, I was a 55-meter champion and a 100-meter champion.
Okay.
So these are things that's imperative, because once you get out of track and field, you go right into camp, because that's how it works. You go from track into camp, so it's like it's nonstop. Like, these players are not. They're only doing one thing. They're only playing football. You got to play football, run track. Go, you play basketball. Keep yourself active, but you got to always make sure you're working on development. So, you know, I noticed that, and I seen that was the missing link in New York. At the time, we only had Prototype, which was ran by DeVal Ellis and you know, his brother Brian Ellis, that's over at Canarsie now. They were training me when I was in high school, so I know that that's the missing link. You know, that training right there is the missing piece. So I wanted, you know, to start my own organization, and now I'm kind of moving into getting into the schools, and because it's not about the physicality aspect to it no more, man. It's more mental, because these kids are missing so much. You know, a lot of kids don't have fathers in their life, so we try to be that mentor and you know, making sure that they just going in the right direction. I want to get my guys from when they 9 years old, work them all the way up into once they get to high school. Once this group I have right now get into high school, man, it's gonna be very scary. I got some young 9-10-year-olds right now. That's literally the best in probably the East Coast, honestly, because I took them to camps. We go to
There's
camps.
a couple of Be careful now. There's a couple of hurricanes in the chat, so you gotta be careful.
No,
now.
I have hurricane guys on my.
Oh, excuse me. Got you.
He's 10 years old. I think he might have just left and went to another team. But like, I love the Hurricanes. I love what Balik and everybody's doing over there. You know, I show love. I don't hate on nobody. Even though I'm from Brooklyn, I love Staten Island. My roommate Alvin Cornelius went to Tottenville. So literally my roommate was my rival in high school. Yeah. So the love of Staten Island is always there. But you know, when it's time to strap on, that love goes away.
Listen, Wayne.
But you know, I want to bring up the youth, man. That's pretty much my thing. I'm gonna have some hats for sale at the games and everything like that. But more so than everything, it's about just the kids and people serving. You know, to lead is to serve. So I feel like I've always been a leader. That's in my blood. So I just want to serve the community and make sure we head in the right direction, man.
Listen, Wayne, just publicly again, anything that you need from Sage Media, we'll try to hold you guys down the best we can. Make sure you guys follow Lights Out Performance, Wayne, on all the socials, and keep watch for those 9-year-olds. And was that the class of 2030?
And I'm telling you. All right,
Wayne,
fellas,
really appreciate you, man. Stick on to the show, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So let's do a quick recap. I know we've been going on for about an hour now. And listen, we're just having fun here, man. You know, this is really going well. Again, big shout out to Jared Valluzzi and Coach Mac being on here with me and all of the guests. So just a quick recap in case you've missed it so far. So week 1, we will be in the Floss, Canarsie versus Lincoln. Week 2, it's going to be Curtis versus Wagner, one of the battles for Staten Island. Week 3, it's going to be a classic Brooklyn rivalry in Eagle Academy, Brooklyn versus Madison. And, of course, like we just went over, is going to be E Hall hosting Curtis. Now, this next game, Is it the deepest rivalry, the biggest rivalry in the city? Well, it's going to get reimagined this year. It hasn't happened for a while, but I'm talking about the Battle of the Floss.
Yeah, this
Of
is it right here.
Yep.
course.
This is it right here.
Canarsie and the newcomers into the 4A South Shore. Now, I'm just going to let Mac and Jared just go here because I know they have a lot to say. And this is the first time South Shore has come up now.
Jared, you can go, man. You can go.
I go for where do I even start here? I mean, man, Battle of the Floss, it's back. I mean, these two teams. I mean, you could say the players are really familiar with each other. I mean, the coaching's absolutely. I mean, this is gonna be crazy. The Schulters Bowl can we call it the Schulters Bowl as well?
It could be a lot of bowls.
It's gonna be incredible. We touched on Canarsie earlier, like, what they're doing with, that loaded defensive line and, how talented they are. But, South Shore, they're going to have some new faces on their squad this year, potentially. And they have so many guys coming back from that 2A championship team. I mean, this is a special rivalry, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, it's going to be like probably one of the hardest hitting, like most passionate games we'll see all season. Cancel your plans that Friday night and make it out to 1600 Rockaway.
I'm hoping this game is live streamed. I know I won't be able to make it, but
that's what we're here for, Coach. It's going to be live streamed.
Yeah, amazing. I know I can't make this game.
We're here for.
I can't make this game. I need to see the live stream from the pregame of this game.
I got you.
It's going to be super chippy. I know that for a fact. I believe Canarsie currently has the trophy. I think they won the last game that when these two teams faced off. Both teams did a lot of things in the offseason. Again, we go back to the transfer portal. There's been a lot of action for both teams. With kids moving around. Yeah, man. This was the other game that I mentioned as far as an outcome of a winner that I'm not sure of. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, and I think it may come down to which team makes the most mistakes, or the first mistake is might fold in this one.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention, I see a great chat that I want to bring onto the screen, brother versus brother, and that's the thing I love the most about New York City. It is you'll see the most competitive players you've ever seen, some of the hardest hitting plays, but again, it's always love afterwards, Of course, once, we're both from the Floss, you have the baby blue on, I have the deep purple on, but once we take it off, it's brothers, At the basketball games, I always see, the guys linking up with each other, Canarsie, E-Hall, South Shore. So I love this. It's always brother versus brother, and we're getting ready to bring on
Andre. Before
you go first, but I got something after.
Yeah, before we bring our guest on, I got the green light to say a couple things.
All right. I got full screen you? Like what kind of were you about to drop? I got a full screen you right now?
I got a green light to say a few things. So
let me full screen you.
we like I said, a couple moves. I try to be vague just to protect certain things that's going on, but let's address the elephant in the room. We had two kids by the name of Daniel Jermaine and Jaden Barrett who played in the Rising Stars game. I have the roster here in front of me right here. At that time, which was in May, we had them listed as going to Canarsie High School. That is no longer. They are at South Shore now, which is huge for the South Shore environment. For the South Shore team. Then we have a kid that, to me, is flying tremendously under the radar in the city with Naeem Cooper, who was previously at FJM, Sheepshead Bay, whatever you want to call it. And he's now transferred to Canarsie High School, which is going to help them out tremendously. He is a freakish athlete, can play running back, receiver. He can play in the secondary on defense. I mean, the kid is a special kid. So I think with all of these moves just makes this game 10 times more interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, you said it right there, Mac. I mean, a couple Canarsie kids headed over to South Shore, and then of course, Canarsie bringing Naeem Cooper. If you're not familiar with Naeem Cooper, go watch his highlights. Like, make sure you see him play because he is a gamer. Like, this changes a lot that he's with Canarsie because Naeem Cooper is one of the best in the city. Honestly, one of the best 26s in the state for sure. And then also South Shore. Hey man, like, we still got time till September. Let's see who South Shore has in that time period. Of course, the PSAL transfer portal. It's no secret. It's crazy. So we still got
Jared, not to mention there's maybe a transfer quarterback coming in from Maryland who
I know. I gotta see if it's official. I
don't know. I'm only going off what I see on social media. I see the pictures.
That's the biggest transfer in the PSAL if it's official. So
he threw for 4,000 yards in one season. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully we get some clarity with our guests coming on.
All right, guys. You guys definitely made the seat pretty hot, pretty hot for our next guest. But if there's anyone that can provide us with some clarity, it would be the head coach of South Shore, one of the coaches of South Shore, Coach Lree. What's going on, Coach? How's that seat, man?
Accusations. Accusations. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot of accusations going around. Jared, Mac, Andre, thank you guys for having me. For just allowing me to talk about my school. I truly appreciate it. We appreciate the honor to be mentioned among a lot of the top schools in the city. You guys named a couple schools in the state, so for us to just be in the conversation, we truly appreciate that.
Yeah, man. What you're doing over there, just as far as running the program, like I tell my guys all the time at the car wash and the practice videos, it's like super, super dope, man. We moved to an age where, everything is kind of social media based. And it's huge running a program and having a strong social media presence. That's amazing, man. I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thank you. I don't get any credit to that. Coach Lau is the mastermind behind that. He is second to none when it comes to the content that he creates and just the ideas that he comes up with. So big shout out to Coach Lau. He's super dope at that. One thing I want to shout out real quick before I forget, my guy Wayne Morgan. I got 3 of these hats right here. That is my guy we played Pop Warner. Well, obviously I'm older than Wayne, but we played on the same Pop Warner team. I wore number 2 in Pop Warner. He wore number 2. So it's always good to see, people that you grew up with, even though they grew up, a little bit behind you, to see them doing successful things. So huge shout out to Wayne. When we did the coaches of the week segment, what I did with Andre, I definitely shouted out Wayne. So I'm always make sure I shout out my guy Weez. I'm super proud of him, super proud of everybody really from the city, but especially from Brooklyn that's doing their thing. And it means a lot more when it's people that you knew that kind of grew up a little bit under you. So definitely huge shout out to Weez, man.
Hey, coach. Absolutely. And I just want to get into. No, I asked you a ton of questions already, obviously in the interview. But coach, one thing I'm thinking, of course, all things will go well. South Shore will be undefeated or whatever, right? But have you thought about how to prepare the team if you guys have a stumble, first stumble in over a year? Like, how do you think the guys would react? Not to be too negative, but
No, I mean that's the things you have to talk about. But that's why you want to compete on this level, right? Like it's so easy to prepare sometimes for those lower levels, and it's not a knock to those programs, but it's like honestly, we should have never been there. Like if you're asking me, we should have never been. We should have never been there. But putting ourselves in position to kind of like reset a little bit with the program, change the culture a little bit, kind of get like some fresh blood in. It kind of worked out in our favor. Like, it was more so a thing of, like we shouldn't have been there, but you know what? Thank God we were there, so now we could kind of get things going in the direction that we really want them to go into. Um, there were a lot of kids in the program when I initially got back, and we had to trim a lot of fat. Like, and I said it before, it wasn't because of their inability to play football; it was just their lack of commitment. The things that they weren't doing in the classroom that we hold our kids to these standards, and it's like you have to be a student athlete, right? Like you could be out here running for 2,000 yards and you have a 65 average. How does that help us? How does that help you? So we had a lot of that. Like we had those guys that's like, oh no, coach, I got a 65. No, that's not good enough. And it's like when we initially got back and we were saying that to these guys, they were kind of looking at us like, well, who's this guy? Like, well, I'm someone that has been in your shoes, has tried to do what you're trying to accomplish, and the in order for you to get to where you're trying to go, 65s don't cut it. You being late to practice doesn't cut it. You missing practice doesn't cut it. So being able to trim the fat and kind of get that new blood going into where it's like now it's the standard. Like now it's like if I know that I'm gonna be even 5 minutes late, I'm texting coach like, I'm sorry, coach, the bus or this, my mom, whatever it may be, like because things arise, especially being in the city, like down south kids are driving at 16. These kids are still taking the bus and the train at 18. So I understand that sometimes the train is gonna run a little late, but be accountable to let us know ahead of time. Don't if practice is at 2, don't text me at 2:05 telling me that the train is late. You knew that 30 minutes ago. So it's just changing the mentality. And I think that has been the biggest thing for us. It's just the mentality changing to where it's like, oh no, like I know what the standard that my coaches are holding me to, and I'm gonna meet that. I'm gonna meet that standard, and it just plays a part into football. So if we do hit a couple bumps in the road early, which is what we expect moving up, we're preparing young men. We're not just preparing kids to play in the PSAL. We're preparing you for life. So in life, you're gonna hit bumps in the road. So how are you gonna respond? My high school coach used to always tell us, adversity is opportunity in disguise, right? So you're gonna hit adversity in life. How are you going to respond to that adversity? And that's what we're trying to, prepare these young men to do so.
Jared.
Yeah, and coach, of course, right now we're talking about, the game with you guys in Canarsie. So like once that schedule became official, of course you're playing some good 4A teams, but the Battle of the Floss. I mean, how excited are you for, the rivalry to be back?
I'm super excited. Me being a South Shore alum, playing Canarsie every year, even before I got to South Shore, seeing that rivalry happen every single year, and for it to not happen these past 4 or 5 years, X amount of years, it's been tough. It's just like, and I said this to LJ one day. I'm like, that's just like, imagine Ohio State and Michigan not playing for 5-6 years in a row. Like, how is that possible? Like, I no longer want to watch college football if I'm not watching Ohio State, Michigan, or Miami, Florida State, or some of these like marquee matchups. It's like, yeah, like high school football is cool, but it's like something missing, and I just feel like this is one of those games where something was missing, and we played for the Battle Flatlands Trophy, and we just want the opportunity to line up and get that trophy back.
Coach Mack?
Yeah, man. I have South Shore going undefeated this season.
Big talk.
In my prediction, I got South Shore going undefeated in the regular season.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Mac.
I think you guys gonna take care of business, man. I looked at the schedule because schedule came out. Went down the schedule game by game. And yeah, I have you guys go undefeated. This is not considered a non-league game. So I didn't include this game in the regular schedule. But if what's going on is true, I think you guys may have that trophy back on the other side of Flatlands, man. Just my opinion.
I mean, that's ultimately the goal. Obviously, when Andre and I spoke, he's like, "Oh, in a perfect world, we go undefeated."
Word. Yeah.
The world we live in is not perfect.
Yeah,
we understand, and that's what I spoke about adversity before. We understand that teams are going to give us their best shot, and they keep seeing us on social media, right? I know they're tired of, like, even in the 2A last year, like when we started like kind of getting buzz, like there were teams that's like, well, why do y'all keep talking about South Shore? Why do you keep talking about South Shore? It's like, like we know the work that we're putting in, but it's like it's so social media driven. Yeah, it's like people just get they get tired of it or whatever. So like we understand that we're gonna get people's best shot, but understand you're gonna get our best shot, and that's not to be taken lightly, and it's not to be said lightly. Like we have a great staff, we have a great set of kids that they come to work every single day. Like we don't have days where we have low attendance. We have guys there locked in every single day. We had a great off season, a great off season, and we're just hoping that it carries on to the season. God willing that we can stay healthy. We don't have the depth that some of these other programs have, where you got the 80, 90 kids. We don't have all of that, so we have to make sure that we stay healthy. But if we stay healthy, the sky's the limit for our program.
Definitely, and I saw the interview with you and Andre, and I'm looking at the chat, and they're saying, well, somebody said Richard Perkins is the best receiver in the PSAL and probably the best in the city.
I said that.
That was you typing in the chat.
I stand on that.
Yeah. I saw it.
We're gonna have to see.
But isn't that why we played this? Isn't that why we played this great game?
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Like what do you?
All right, Coach, hold on a second.
Coach,
hold on.
What am I supposed to say?
We're gonna hold on, Coach.
Like, what do y'all like? We sit there. We have I have a great student athlete in my program.
Right. I
have a kid that has 9+ offers at quarterback, and he's even better at receiver.
Yeah.
Do I not make sure I highlight this young man?
1,000%.
So that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes people they hear these things and it's like, oh well, he's trying to diss Lyric. I don't know that young man. I am super proud of that young man. Yeah. I am always proud of all of our New York City athletes or New York State athletes that are doing a positive thing in their life. So this is in no way a shot to that young man. Not at all.
Yeah, saying that your guy, bigging up your guy is not putting down anyone else.
That's what I'm saying. And
that's not the case.
It's like you got to see some of the text messages I got. Like, oh, how dare you say?
Nah, man.
My kid is really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trust and believe.
Kids. Yeah.
Trust and believe. My kid is the goods. Does that say he's gonna have more yards? No, I don't measure success by yards, right? Because opportunities weigh a lot in that.
Yep.
Right. You play against a good team. You play against some of these top tier teams in the 4A. It's like you don't see the opportunities that somebody else may see. Playing in the lower levels. You get what I'm saying? So that I don't dictate that off of that. I dictate that off of his work ethic, how good he is, what he's been able to do as a freshman at quarterback.
Right.
You know, now
Yeah.
he says, now a lot of people sneeze at New York City football, right? Oh, New York City. Okay, so he went out to New Orleans and dominated in New Orleans.
Definitely.
He dominated the 7-on-7 circuit.
Yep.
Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. You could just Google it. You can, go find it. OT7s, Battle in Miami.
Yeah.
Like he's at every level in that, right? So it's only right for me, right? If this kid is doing everything he's supposed to be doing. Oh, and he's a 3.9 GPA kid.
Damn.
Love that.
So if he's a 3.9 GPA kid and he's doing all of these things on the field, right? I handle all recruiting. Am I not supposed to make sure I'm calling every coach in the nation that I have that I can get in arm's reach?
Yeah, it's true, man.
Listen,
So I'm going to
guys,
do that.
I have to do this because it's I have to. What is the
hold
best
on,
way
hold
for
on,
me to
hold
put
on,
this
hold on.
screen right
Let
now?
me
What
put
is
my other hat on.
how
Let me
can I
put my
put
other
this?
hat on, man. That's my
What is the
brother
best
right
way
there.
for me to put this screen? I'm trying to figure it out right now.
That's my brother right there.
Oh, man.
Wayne, let me make you bigger. Wayne, your response. Let's show them how to properly debate about sports.
Hold on, Weez, did you hear what I said?
Wayne,
Yeah,
you're
you're on mute. You're on mute, Wayne. You're on mute, Wayne.
My
Still
bad.
on
I was
mute.
mute. Sorry about that.
There you go.
David, what's up, my brother?
What's good, bro?
So I love something you said. I totally like. I had to, sometimes you gotta remove your emotions and really understand. So you said, he been working hard. He's a 3.9. I didn't know that. And respectfully, you should feel that way about your player. Like everybody should think that they have the best player because you giving not only him more confidence. You just reassuring him and making sure that he knows, like you holding him to a certain standard. So I respect it. I definitely think Lree Samuel is the best receiver though. Only I say that because I watch him every day. We've been playing this game. I honestly haven't watched Richard that much so I can't really judge him. I can't really say how good or bad he is because I haven't really been paying him because he went away last year. He did the whole thing, so I haven't really. I seen him play at quarterback, and that's not really enough for me. But I do like. I love what y'all got going on, bro. I love it, and I feel like y'all should be talking trash as much as y'all should be doing everything.
We're not talking no trash.
Nah, but hold on, Dave. Y'all do talk trash. Stop it.
We don't. What trash do we talk? Show me a clip. Remind me something I said or somebody said.
Now I'm just saying though, like the city needs this. Like this is what we need. That competitive and whatever it is, we need it.
Oh no, we're definitely. So I don't mean to keep cutting you off. Like we bring the competitive nature, but talking trash is not like I've told everybody that anybody that I've ever talked to or whatever, I give y'all flowers. So you don't win 5 in a row on accident. Yeah. Like that's not how you win 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. However, we're here to compete. Like so, if they put us on the schedule, whatever, we may lose, we may win, we may get blown out, but we're not gonna fold. We're not gonna be like, dang, man. I've heard kids like say like, dang, when we play E-Hawk. Like, no. No, you don't.
Where we come from, though, Dave. When we see,
but that's what I'm saying.
Want that.
And that's the mentality that we breathe into our kids. So again, right, when you play football long enough, you're gonna lose games. Mm-hmm. Right? If you play football long enough, you're gonna lose games. You're gonna miss a block. You're gonna miss a tackle. You're gonna catch a pick. You're gonna drop a pick, catch a tackle. Like these things are gonna happen if you play the game long enough. So it's like for me to be scared of somebody that's out there lining up trying to compete like me, like that would never be the case. Right. And the confidence that we try to build,
see it too, so you can't.
The confidence that we try to build in our players, like we just try to instill that ultimate confidence, and that's like if you prepare the right way, if you're doing what you need to do in the classroom, we'll be perfectly fine. Yeah. And that's kind of where we are right now. Like we, like talking trash is not what we do, but having confidence. Oh yeah, we got. we have the confidence. We're ready to line up against anybody. 100%. But
100%, and I love it. I love it.
That's just my perspective of it.
Yeah.
No, I just had to. I just wanted like the two of you to have like your
Yeah,
own
yeah. We
little
needed
moment
that
there.
moment. We needed that moment. Because I
You
feel
see,
like it's so
you
much.
see how to
We
throw
had
the,
a
you see how to throw the hat on.
Because I feel like it's so much like negative things. Like there's a lot of negative things that go towards Eagle, and there's also a lot of negative things that go towards South Shore. And what I be trying to tell people is that we can't really be mad at what they're building. Like
Yes.
everybody got to build. Everybody got to start from somewhere and then work their way up. And I love that it's multiple, that they're doing that and they bringing more kids over there. We need the separation. We need to get back to the PSAL and where it used to be. It is kind of. I love winning, of course. Everybody love winning, but of course, you want to juice it up a little bit and have some players spread out, and have that competition because that's what we came from. Me and David, we literally are cut from the same cloth. We all play for more better. That's what I was telling you. We've been beating up on teams forever. So we came from a winning system, and that's why David has that hunger. Him, Jamal Shelters. We all are from the same place. Maybe we should all come back together and be at the same place as well. But that's something we got to think about. But anyway, I love where the city is headed. I feel like we're in good hands. And I love it, man. I love what we got going on, and the media, Sage Media, Jared Balluzzi, Coach Mac. We definitely gonna be. And I gotta address Jeff Lree too, and City Ground Sportsnet because he said something negative about my boy Lyric Samuel as well, and I did not like that. And the Madman. When I see the Madman is going down,
I do not want to be a part of any kind of.
I want to
talk
be a
about
part
that.
of it. When you speak,
I want to. I am here to talk about South Shore High School.
right.
I don't want to get.
I
I don't want to get intertwined.
Mac.
I know my last name. Our last name is the same. I do not do media. I am a football coach. I am an educator. I want to focus on doing that for my guys. I don't want to.
That is the perfect
People
answer.
start.
I'm always
I start catching strays for things I didn't say or post. So I don't want to.
right.
I don't want to get in contact.
Because Lyric's a great kid. Besides football, he's a great kid. Very humble. He come from a 2-family house structure. So, the way he goes about things are really different. So I feel like, when people it's not disrespectful for David to say that Rich is better. That's his play. He should say that. Like, I want to stress it. But, when people say, oh, he's not like that and this and that and this and that and this and that, it's like, you don't want to bring down kids' confidence or anything like that. So I feel like, we dealing with a different kind of generation. So they're not as tough as we are, and it is what it is. We can't expect that. But, let's keep uplifting the young brothers. And I'm gonna definitely do a show. I'm gonna do a guest appearance on this show as well.
Yeah, just for me to jump in real quick, I think that, the main reason why I wanted to do something like this is to main reason why I wanted to do something like this is because like I want to, show everybody, the whole city, how to have a conversation about sport. Of course, one of the main rules, always have to remember that these are young athletes. All of us on the screen, we're fortunate enough to be athletes. And we know the pressures that come with us. None of us play in the social media era. Well, Jared pretty young, I don't know. But, we didn't play in the social media era. So this is kind of almost like a crash course, how to have dialogue about players. Because the way it works, and you two especially could talk about this. I know both of you played football in New York.
We actually both went to Syracuse, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So, but when you come back home,
tell you, man, this is a family affair. Sorry to cut you off, Andre. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, when you come back home, you want to feel like the media, your local media has your back. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you guys leave, like, I'm sure when you guys went to Syracuse, there might have been a little click with the Florida people or the Ohio people, and obviously you guys were from New York, so you probably had your Brooklyn clique. So, obviously we're all competing. But once we leave high school, it's New York.
Yeah, we're together, 100%.
Absolutely.
So definitely want
to. I've seen kids that didn't play for South Shore. I've seen Adisa. He's now with the Ravens. He was at Canarsie. I see Sean Ryan with the Ravens. I can go down the list. Like there is like even Gus that played for Tottenville. Like
Yep.
you're a New York City guy, and
Dean Marlowe.
like yo, it's like if you see somebody in Brooklyn and you see somebody like if you go to like a Tottenville E-Hall game and you're at E-Hall, like it's like all right, I'm not messing with this guy right now because it's Tottenville versus E-Hall. But if you see that same guy and you're in like Maryland and you know somebody from the city, it's like, oh no, like yo, what's up? This is my
That's
guy.
love,
Like, yo,
yeah.
you know what we doing tonight? Because that's just the mentality of the city. And I definitely agree. Like you should never, and I would never, like bring a kid down. Like no matter how I feel about his game, yes, I speak very highly of my guys, but I never would downplay another young man. So I want to make that clear. I don't know what was said, but I don't take I do not support anybody downing anybody's kid in any kind of way or any kid in any kind of way, because at the end of the day, these are 14, 15-year-old kids that are just trying to do the same things we did. They want opportunity. In the same way, I was very privy to a lot of conversations when Wayne was growing up, when Coach Mouse was driving him around and taking him to USC and all of that. The same things with my high school coaches. My high school coaches on Wednesday, this coach named Lou Honoramo from Purdue told me that I wasn't good enough, and my coach said, "You know what? We'll bring him out to Purdue." Drove me to Purdue that Saturday, got the offer, drove back. So like those are the kind of coaches that I'm trying to be. Like the same way Mouse was, that taking Wayne around, the same way my high school coach was, that drove me to Indiana, 17-hour drive there and back. Like that's the type of coach I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to be the coach that's like, oh well, he nice, but I'm gonna hate on him, so he ain't really that. Like no, like I'm not, I'm not like that. So I want Lyric to do great this year. I want everybody to do great. I'm just always gonna make sure I highlight a kid that's doing his part, and that's what basically I was doing with Rich.
Yeah, so listen, guys, I just want to keep it moving. So I just want to give, of course, Coach Lree the last word. And Wayne, thank you for coming back on again. I wanted to make sure,
Thank you.
have a fun little debate there. I thought that was
Of
a
course,
beautiful
of
moment,
course.
honestly. But Coach, just last words. Just talk about what you're looking forward to in camp. I'll say this at the end, but it's about to be my favorite time. I'm a media person, but I'm a football guy at first. My favorite time is coming when the cameras shut off and it's time to get back to football. You know what I'm saying? Then, we'll start talking again when we're, once we see each other again. There's no more debate. We just seeing facts on the field. So, Coach Lree, just final words.
My last words are just thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing, like I said, thanks for allowing my team to be on this platform and be able to be mentioned with some of the NYC greats right now. We're just here to compete. We're going to do that. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to continue to build this program the right way, and hopefully in a couple of years, we can be solidified. I know we were really good when I was in high school, but that was like 60 years ago at this point. So, hopefully we could just bring that feeling back to 65 Flatlands Avenue, to where it's like, nah, these guys are for real. It's not just the social media. It's not just 2A, because that's what a lot of people are saying right now. Oh yeah, their social media page is fire, but they're not really good. So we want to let our pads talk. We're going to continue to do what we do on social media, because that's just the era that we're in.
Please don't stop. We literally need that. Like,
Yeah, okay.
the criticism of social media is weird. We
I
need
love it,
more
man.
people to watch our games.
Our social media page is hilarious to me. I love it.
That's amazing.
Y'all doing a good job, bro, with that.
Appreciate it, man. Our kids enjoy it. And again, it's not about us. We have everybody in the screen right now. We have 0 downs left. Like, it's about these kids. So, the fact that we can do something dope for these kids, man. I'm just super thankful for it. We're gonna continue to build the program the right way, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys in the fall.
All right. So, of course, this again, we're going over the Battle of the Floss. I know we took a detour, but I felt like that was fun. So, Lree, Wayne, appreciate you guys. All right.
Sir.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes,
See you guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I really enjoyed that.
That was fun. That was fun. Great. Come on now. Gotta love a little debate, man. You gotta.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, we're getting back on track. Again, that was for the Battle of the Floss. This is week 6, and we have a matchup between two teams who should be vying for the playoffs, and that is going to be Utrecht versus New Dorp. New Dorp was a team. They were the 7th seed in the playoffs last year. And Utrecht, they just missed out on the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they won their last 2 or 3 games in a row. So I'm very excited for this matchup. You know, some people might look at this matchup and feel away. But, you know, I've been to Utrecht 3 times in the past 3 years, and that's such a tough place to play. Those kids are very hard-hitting and very disciplined, and the same with New Dorp. So I feel like this is a great opportunity for these 2 up-and-coming teams in the 4A to have a stage to show what they can do. So I'll throw it over to Jared.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Especially you touched on it. The potential playoff implications is huge. You know, I mean, both these teams are gonna be trying to sneak in a really tough 4A, and they both have great players to do it. But it is gonna be interesting. You know, last year it went down to the wire when they faced off, but New Utrecht, they're actually they were pretty senior heavy last year. You know, they had a kid, Akil Cameron, who was special. And you
Yes,
had
great running
Honens the Honens that were great, but they were seniors, so their time is up, and now it's it's time to see some new players for New U. It's gonna be fun, and kind of the same with New Dorp. New Dorp graduated 20 plus seniors last year, and a couple of them like Jack Hay, Sean Bauer. Those were some really good players. So they're on to their next chapter. But New Dorp, they have some good talent. There's actually, I touched on Anthony Hooker earlier of Wagner as a DB, but New Dorp has like their own really good Staten Island tough DB named Carlos Lopez, who a lot of people should look out for. He's going to be a really good player for the Cougars, but they're going to be a little bit young, so it's going to be interesting to see who ends up stepping up for New Dorp, and kind of the same with New Utrecht. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And also for New Dorp, I want to give a shout out to a kid named Frank Hammer, who's going to be a solid linebacker, might see some time on offense as well. And it's going to be fun. And also New Dorp, we saw it last year. They made the playoffs. They're similar to New Utrecht, man. It's a team that always comes to play, so it should be fun.
Coach
I
Matt?
believe this is the first year with the New Utrecht head coach change.
Yes.
I believe the previous head coach, I can't believe his name is Coach Allen. He was there for about definitely over 20 years probably. And they have a new coach in there. So I think this is going to be a great matchup. New Dorp always has a solid program. Back in the days, they were a lot more talented. They kind of dropped off in the later years. I definitely have New Utrecht winning this game, though.
Yeah, Utrecht at home. Yeah, very exciting. Again, very exciting. Going to be, could have major playoff implications. Now, week 7. There were so many games to pick on week 7. We decided to pick them all. It's rivalry week in the PSAL. I'm naming it. I am ordaining week 7 in the PSAL to be rivalry week. Mac, you want to start with Friday night? Let me get the date. Let me make sure I get the date for this game. Let's see. Give me a second. Let me make sure I get the date for this game right. October 25th at 6 p.m. There are 2 of the biggest games in probably New York State going on. So first, I'm going to go to the Bronx for JFK versus Dewitt Clinton. Dewitt Clinton came a couple of snaps away from being 3A champions. They fell short to boys and girls. And JFK, they gave everything they could, almost made a huge upset against Curtis in the playoffs. Pretty sure they were up 2 scores, maybe 3 scores, and then Curtis came back and won. Talent all over the field. And I'm just so happy to see like a Bronx matchup back in the 4A. Haven't seen it since Lehman's been up in the 4A. JFK has been a staple in the 4A for years. Beautiful field. Jared, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, man, this is going to be a war. They played last year. Kennedy got the win. And, I mean, two teams really don't like each other. This rivalry dates back for quite some time. It seems like, when these two teams get together, it's going to be good. The atmosphere is going to be amazing. And, when this is live streamed on Sage Media, alumni from, wherever they are now are going to be tuning in because it's Kennedy and it's Clinton. It's going to be fun. And I think it's also going to be, two different styles kind of going at each other, right? Because Kennedy, of course, last year, I mean, so physical. They're going to run really, really hard. Derek Betances is fantastic. And, I've also mentioned Anthony Marte, who's, big 300-plus pound offensive lineman. He's going to be great in the trenches for a Kennedy team that's just going to, move the chains and have a lot of success on the ground. But they're going against the Clinton squad, man, that has some of the best skill players in the Bronx. I know you guys have seen Tyler Cabasa play quite a bit. He is phenomenal. And, Jelani Anderson, Pedro Pinheiro, the Governor's got a lot of great players. And by this time, we should see, how their offensive line and defensive line shape up throughout the season. So, it's Clinton and it's Kennedy. It really doesn't get much better than this. This is one of the most classic Bronx rivalries. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned Tyler Cabasa. He was supposed to play in the Rising Stars game. Couldn't play due to injury, but I'm definitely happy to see him back up and going. And I think he's going to have a huge season. And Pedro Pinheiro actually played in the Rising Stars game. He's a great athlete. I think he's going to have a great season. Kennedy came to the Move the Chain 7-on-7 and was really hyped up, played well, surprisingly. They're not really, in my opinion, they're not really a 7-on-7 team.
Yeah, right.
They did well. They have some big receivers, big tight end. So this is definitely going to be a pretty good game, man. I'm curious to see what's going on.
No, absolutely. And I just want to address something in the chat real quick. And this, I'm completely fine with this. Someone is saying, we got to prove you guys wrong to be a game of the week. When I put this schedule together, I tried my hardest to fit everybody in, honestly. I probably made 8 different schedules until I got to this final one. So we still have I think about 3 games to go over. So, keep your fingers crossed that your team shows up here. But, I picked the games that I thought New York City is going to want to watch the most. And if this is motivation, if you don't see your team flash up, please use this as motivation. And let me tell you something. If things go right with the PSAL, I'll be live streaming the Final Four. So if you want to make sure your team gets on Sage Media, get to that Final Four, make some noise, make it that next year your team has to be on this game of the week. But I will take all of the arrows. It was me who came up with the schedule. I tried my hardest to fit everyone. But
hey, just for the record, I'm a Millwood alum, man. Go Hornets. Man, go Hornets, man. I'm a Millwood alum. I'm behind you, man.
All right. So listen, guys, stretch out a bit. Let's get into the game of the year. Tottenville versus E-Hall.
Here we go.
I don't think I need to warm this one up. So Jared, just take it away.
Man, let's get into it. I mean, championship game last year, absolutely crazy. I mean, both times these teams met, Tottenville was right there. I mean, the Pirates, they gave Erasmus Hall, as much as they could handle, but E-Hall, they found a way to win. They completed the drive for 5. And what's crazy about this one, Mac, is both teams, of course, they're the top 2 teams in the PSL. It seems like they return, almost everybody, especially on the offensive side of things. I mean, come on, Tyshawn Bent and Corey Brown for Tottenville, the best running back duo that, I mean, they were freshman and sophomore last year, and it was
Crazy.
insane. Might be the best running back duo in the city, regardless of private or public. They're special. And then Erasmus Hall, you got Amir Mar, you got that big offensive line. You got Lyric Samuel, who, we were arguing that, might be the best in the state. So, I mean, E-Hall, Tottenville, it's going to be crazy, and it's in Staten Island. I think it's on a Friday night, right, Andre?
Absolutely. Both these games
is
going on at the same time.
It's going to be nuts. It is going to be insane. So, it's battle of the heavyweights. I'm pumped.
This game, so
we might need a pick, by the way. I'm sorry. I really want to. We might. I'm sorry, man.
I think this game is going to happen twice this season. I think it's going to happen in the regular season, and I think they're going to see each other again in the PSAL 4A championship. Whoever wins in the regular season, I believe, will lose in the championship.
Wow.
That's my take for this game. I think both of these teams are coached up amazing. They both have amazing talent. E-Hall's a little young. E-Hall's a little young this year. Tottenville has a lot of returning guys. We have Michael Trinidad and Cyrus Cardona up front. Amazing guys. Both of those kids played in the Rising Stars game. Tottenville is always great up front. And Erasmus just graduated 3 defensive linemen, 2 who went D1, and the other one went Division 2. So they're coming, and they have young guys that's filling some big shoes. Xavier Hughes, AJ. I mean, these guys are filling huge shoes. But yeah, this is gonna be a good one. I still am trying to find out who's gonna be a starting quarterback for Erasmus. I've been hearing a lot of chatter about a couple of different guys.
Interesting.
Fortunately enough, we have a lot of guys that play for the Move the Chain 7-on-7 program, and they're always loaded with talent. So this is going to be interesting to watch, man.
Yeah, it's fun because you said whoever wins the regular season probably won't win the second game. That means Erasmus Hall might have a loss this year, so that's interesting. But it's going to take a lot to actually beat E-Hall. But I think the thing that you touched on that's so important is Tottenville has this really good offensive line going against an E-Hall D line that's going to be new, compared to what they graduated, and a new coach. So this is going to be the matchup, and they're going to have to find a way to stop Corey Brown and Tyshawn Bent. Because Tottenville, they're not going to throw the ball 15, 20 times against this amazing E-Hall secondary. They're going to give it to number 4, and they're going to give it to Corey Brown, and they're going to say, hey, stop our elite running backs and stop our great offensive scheme that, the coaching staff has put together for that game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But then, hey, the same goes the other way. Can Tottenville stop Erasmus Hall? Can they stop Lyric Samuel? They didn't do it in the championship last year. Could they find a way to stop Amir Morrow? These are all the questions, and Sage Media is going to have the answers Friday night in Staten Island out in October.
I know Wayne was talking about, other teams scoring over, I think he said 15 or something. I think this is
like
where
1,000 and something crazy.
Yeah.
I think this is the game where it's pretty much confirmed. I think Tottenville is going to put points on the board, and I think Erasmus is going to put points on the board as well. It comes down to, who can outshoot, the other team.
Yeah, I was trying to bring this in before, definitely shout out to Jaden Locke. Hopefully you're still in the chat. I had the pleasure of seeing you in the Rising Stars game, and
Yes,
I
definitely.
thought you were absolutely a standout. So definitely want to give you your flowers on air. And, I had the pleasure of calling this one. And, I feel like when it comes to sports and, history and stuff like that, people don't remember everything, And, having the pleasure of commentating these games, I lived through, every waking moment of the game. So it's like singed into my brain. And in that game, E-Hall came out and they were, a little rocky on the first start. They try to trick play on the first play. I felt like that kind of bounced them out of rhythm. And Corey Brown and Tyshawn Bent were just on one that day. They were absolutely on one that day. And everyone in the New York State knows how hard hitting the front seven, and not even only the front seven, them boys coming up from the secondary are for E-Hall. And the amount of yards after contact both of those players were getting was tremendous. They go up 14-7. You have that huge run from Corey Brown. I'm pretty sure it was an 85-yard run. When I was watching that play, I had to remind myself, I was like, these are E-Hall guys he's just running past, right? Because when somebody's breaking through, when it's almost like that Odell Beckham effect, like those guys where that you just see the gap getting bigger and bigger, and you're like, this is crazy. This is top level competition you're up against. So, E-Hall had the bad snap. Tottenville had the ball, what was it, on the 20-yard line, up 14-7. If they were, unfortunately they had some bad discipline, had that big double penalty, and changed the tide of the whole game.
Yeah.
Right. And, a lot of chatter about Lyric Samuel. I'll put myself full screen. Whatever you want to say about Lyric Samuel, which is crazy because he is a Penn State commit. Okay, that was hearing some background. Whatever you want to say about Lyric Samuel, he damn near won that championship game. Those two huge touchdown catches, it broke Tottenville. And, no disrespect to number 26. I'm sorry I don't have your name up on here. But, their running back had a huge play as well. But, Lyric completely blew that. From E-Hall. There were two of them. There were two.
Deshaun Mackins.
Yeah, Mackins.
There you go, Mackins. So definitely shout out to Mackins because he broke like 2-3 tackles and scored about a 60-yard touchdown in that game. So this is the premier game. I can even say the premier game in New York State, to be honest with you. Like, I really feel like, it's not even really going out on a limb saying that, we know for sure Tottenville have at least 2 Division I players, probably have more. E-Hall, I mean, Lord of mercy, how many Division I players does E-Hall have? I can go on a limb and say this is the game of New York State.
Definitely.
So
yeah, it's gonna be it's either this or Iona and Hayes, and I mean, especially with like the history, like what happened last season and stuff like that, and storylines going into it. Everyone's got to see E-Hall Tottenville, man. I mean, yeah, it's must-watch game. Even if you're a high school football fan outside of New York that just appreciates high school football, like, this is the game in the big city that you got to tune into.
Yeah, so I'm going to put Coach Mack full screen. Who you got, Coach?
Oh, man. Oh, man. So I got Erasmus winning this game. I don't want my guys to get all upset, but here's my hot take. I definitely think Tottenville is gonna win in the championship, though.
Wow,
it's my hot take right there.
Let me see. So August 19th, 9 o'clock.
Reactions for sure.
Wait, you my guy. Five is enough, man. You know what I'm saying?
And there are other people also, that I've just like seen and talked to. A lot of people are liking Tottenville this year, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be special.
Let me say this: if this is the year, in my opinion, if it's gonna go another way, it has to go another way this year. If it doesn't go another way
Makes
this
sense.
year, we're looking at I don't know how many phrases Erasmus is going to come up with. Drive for 5, 4P, back to back, 3P. You know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna get to a point where we're like win for 10. Like it's you know what I'm saying. So I think this year it should go the other way. I think Tottenville should bring it back, and I think it's good for New York City football. I think it's good for PSL football. It'll balance things out, man, and we'll have competitive games week to week, like how it used to be.
Yeah, man. Listen, I know a few people in the chat. Someone saying, "Say it with your chest." I mean, this man is in front of 64 people. How many times is this going to get reshared? I think he said it with his chest.
I'll take it reshared for sure. Yeah,
we'll play this back. We'll play it back.
And here, even bigger than the top, Catholic League matchups. I'm going to say yes. I think this game is just as big as
Iona and Hayes.
Iona Step.
Hayes, yeah.
Iona Hayes. Hayes Step. I think this game with the quality of football we saw in that championship game, which a few people are saying was in the rain. It was a nasty day. This is one of the top games in New York State. Like
Definitely.
I can say that without really stuttering, honestly.
We have Erasmus starting running back in the chat. Amir Murrow. I just want to shout my guy out, man. He's been in the Move the Chains program for about 5 years now. That's my guy. I think he's gonna have an amazing season. An amazing season. And I hope we can witness history with that game, man.
Yeah, man. So again,
That's-
E-Hall, Tottenville. E-Hall, Tottenville.
Ooh.
Definitely wanted to make sure we took some time just to talk about this game. I mean,
so I just saw the chat just now, man. I think Erasmus. I could be mistaken. I think Erasmus has this thing where their best or dynamic players from year to year were number 2. I'm pretty sure that stems from Wayne. Back in the 2000s. He just confirmed that Amir is winning number 2 this year. So that's super exciting to hear, man. And I think Amir deserves it. He works extremely hard, man. So that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Amir. And I'm pretty sure I know Wayne. I know you're in the thing. Amir has some offers already, right? I know he's a young guy.
Mm-hmm. Some big ones.
No, yeah, yes, that's incredible. He has 2. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so big shout out to Amir. We're all looking out for you guys. E-Hall's on here twice this year, so we're definitely going to get a good look. So we're going to move on to the next game. And again, both of these games will be on the Friday, and the next day, the 27th. Sorry if I got it wrong. We have another one of the premier matchup. Well, I think it will be one of the premier matchups in Brooklyn. This game is probably better known for the basketball rivalry, but we're bringing it to football, and that is Eagle versus South Shore. And this game is at the new Eagles Nest. So we're in week 7 at this point. We'll see, where these two teams are in the standings at that time. But I think that, the Eagles Nest is pretty sure it is the only city field, I got at least in the PSAL, that has 2 sets of stands. Yeah, I think that these stands are going to be absolutely packed wall to wall for this game. Talent on both sides, of course. We're talking about the passing attack for South Shore. Eagle Academy, they have a very good passing attack with the new quarterback Cody and Brandon Treviso, great wide receiver. So I think that this could play huge for the playoffs. According to Coach Mack, South Shore is going to come into this game undefeated. So, Eagle will have a huge chance here to make a huge statement in the Eagles' nest. So I'm gonna throw it over to Coach Mack first. What do you think about this one?
Yes, I think Eagle is going to have to coach their ass off this game. Talent-wise, they know what South Shore brings to the table. Here's a hot take here. I do think Eagle might be better up front. I think in the trenches, Eagle has the better group. But skill-wise, it's going to be tough to keep up with South Shore. And once you start, going down, and the game changes to a whole different direction. I think Eagle has some talented guys. We had a huge segment on South Shore already, so we already know what's up with them. In order for Eagle to pull this game out, they're going to have to control the game. They're going to have to keep South Shore's offense off the field, manage the clock, and try to come out with the W. But I have South Shore for this game.
Yeah, and what I like about this one too is, when we go down the line, there's a chance that South Shore is undefeated headed into this game, and that's they're putting their record on the line in the new Eagles nest. And I think Coach Mack made a great point as well that Eagles got some guys up front, man, especially if, that big transfer we're talking about, especially if he ends up, going there and officially suiting up. He's a game changer. And, we talked about the Villanova twins and, a couple other guys. Eagles going to be tough, and that's definitely a test for South Shore's physicality up front. And that'll be that'll be a lot of fun to see if Eagle could kind of have success in that range. But they're going to have to match up with South Shore skills, and that could be a problem because Adrian Antoine, Richard Perkins, Tajay Schulters, Daniel Germain at running back, this is pretty loaded.
No, absolutely. So, we're definitely super excited. Coach Lree would not call it a rivalry. Is more known for the basketball. How those two teams give it up in basketball, of course. But hey, don't think that these two schools are basketball schools. Two schools in the top flight of the PSAL. I think this could be it's going to be one of the biggest games in Brooklyn, and I'm really excited for it. One thing I want to address real quick, because we only have one more game to unveil. I see JC saying there's no underrated games. If you mean underrated, I'm going to assume that you mean, we're only doing the 4A. Yes. This first year we're doing this, it's only the 4A. Obviously a lot goes into putting these games on. A lot of investment from myself has gone into putting these games on. So right now we're at the stage as a company where, we can be at two locations at once. So we're only going to do the 4A. Also, my goal and our goal, everyone here, is to make New York football a product. And I believe in order for it to be a product, we have to put the best product forward. Now, I know there's quality in the 3A. APR, listen, Travis Gamble is a top 10 player in the whole league. Let me just come out and say that. All right.
Better than top 10. I'll go back and say that.
Travis is incredible. Listen, I got both to pick with you back because he was offensive MVP that day.
I had to give it to the kid who scored, man. Travis is an amazing
Travis
kid.
in the chat. Love that.
He's in the chat.
Travis in the chat, man. Travis is an amazing kid.
Travis know you robbed him. Because I was commentating this game. I said, I know Travis has to be the player of the game.
Travis
and then watch out. APR's got some other guys too that are gonna be really, really good this season.
Oh yeah.
I'm pumped for them. It'll be
fun. Man. Yeah. Coach Perlo runs an amazing program.
Shout out.
Yeah, man. He runs an amazing program.
Yeah, that's a team that knocking on the door, hey,
close.
We would have come up into the 4A too. We'll see.
I can't. Listen, and knowing the guy that Coach Perlo is, I think once he has things assembled, he will be in the 4A, and that's gonna be amazing for the city, man. That's gonna be amazing for the city.
Yeah. So yes, this year we are only covering the 4A. But again, I believe that I want to get eyes on New York City. and this is life. People are going to come watch Tottenville versus E-Hall. People are going to come watch E-Hall versus Curtis. I don't believe in trickle-down economics in politics, but in sports, I do believe in that. If we want the PSAL, if we want you guys to be on a bigger stage, we have to get the numbers in. We have to get people watching. We have to get those Division I guys, on the camera. We're hoping to expand this as it goes on, but for the first year, we're only going to do 4A, and this is only varsity. I saw someone come in, but yes, it's only varsity. Coach Mack, you got to talk to Travis. All right. So let's get into the final game of the Sage Standout Game of the Week schedule. And it's two teams we have seen before. It's JFK versus South Shore. So, yes, South Shore is here 3 times. I did this so many different ways. One team was going to have to be out here 3 times, and this was just the way it worked out the best. And honestly, I'm not mad at this. I am not mad at this because you have maybe an undefeated South Shore team coming into a hostile environment in the Bronx, in JFK, a team that's going to want to punch you in your mouth.
Yep.
It's a contrast in styles. Jared, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, you just touched on it a little bit there, but it's going to be a tone setter because I feel like at this point, South Shore's prepping for the playoffs. They're trying to crack that top 4 because, listen, if South Shore has the season that a lot of people think they will have, regardless, in the first round, they're going to have to face Curtis, Tottenville, E-Hall, or Lincoln. They're going to have to go against one of those 4 or Canarsie. Say Canarsie has a really good season. They're going to have to go against one of those really, really good programs or maybe someone else that jumps into it. So they're going to have to be ready for that physicality that Lincoln, Curtis, E-Hall, those teams bring. And guess what, man? JFK brings it as well. So that is going to be an amazing test because JFK, they're going to pound the rock and, they are going to test South Shore's defensive line because that's going to be interesting, especially later in the season. We talked about South Shore's depth as well. I think that's going to be tested. So that's it's going to be fun. And listen, man, when you go to the Bronx to take on JFK, who's ready to run hard in November when it's cold out, and
that's a good point too.
Yeah, it's time to put on time to play some serious football, man. JFK is coming, but South Shore, listen, they got the talent. It's gonna be fun.
I think these two teams play each other in the Move the Chain 7-on-7. They got a little chippy, man. So
okay.
I'm
It's
definitely excited. They got a little chippy when they played, man. JFK came out fired up. So this is definitely like a game to look forward to, when they put the pads on. JFK is coming with a chip on their shoulder. How South Shore is coming. So I'm definitely curious to see how this game pans out. But, my take on this, I got South Shore undefeated for the season. So this goes into their undefeated season. I think they come out with the win.
So real quick, I just want to have a little bit of fun. Again, I'm putting Coach Mack on the spot, but he can handle it. So if South Shore is undefeated, in my head, they're the 3 seed, right? Because if we have an undefeated E-Hall, a 1-loss Tottenville, that would probably put South Shore 3. They wouldn't put South Shore 2, right?
Well, it depends on. So they won't be the 3 seed because it goes by like PowerPoint.
The rating, the PowerPoints.
Yeah, strength of schedule. So because their schedule isn't, I'm not gonna say not that hard, but they have Madison, Clinton, Midwood, McKee, Port Richmond, Eagle, JFK, and Utrecht on their regular schedule. So if they do go undefeated, I think their best landing spot will be 4 or 5, even with the undefeated season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you said the 4 or 5 seed.
Even with and that's
Kinda
where the
tough.
undefeated. That's where the undefeated, because even with a 1-loss Tottenville, and let's say a 2-loss
Lost Lincoln.
Curtis or Lincoln,
Uh-huh.
you get what I'm saying? They're still
They
Yeah.
gonna,
might get the nod. Yeah.
yeah. So they
A 2-loss
but-
though? Dang, that's kind of tough. 2
yeah,
losses?
because of their strength of schedule. Because of their strength of schedule. So I
Be like
see
the
them
points
with
and stuff.
4
Yeah.
or 5 seed.
Yeah, and that gets into the point I was talking about earlier with Canarsie. Like, I actually want to have my screen up here. Let me go to Canarsie's schedule. I know we're jumping around a bit. Actually, let me just put on the full schedule while we're jumping around and talking here. So that's the full schedule. Shout out to Lincoln, man, because
LJ,
Lincoln,
man.
LJ, we were working. I asked him to update this so many times, and he helped
he
me
did a
out.
great
So I
job.
really appreciate him. So this is the full schedule in all its glory. I'll post this on the Instagram later. Make sure you guys reshare and everything like that. And one thing I want to speak on real quick is this is week 8. There is a week 9 game. I have that as a flex. I know it's not on the graphic. It just wasn't going to fit on the graphic, honestly. I do have that as a flex. So if there is a game that has playoff implications, I'll go there. This week is Tottenville Curtis. We'll probably be there in all seriousness. But we'll see. So there could be an extra game in this schedule for that flex week. There's also Lincoln versus E-Hall this week. I know somebody mentioned that in the chat, and I just want to reiterate, the goal of Sage Media, of course, is to, bring New York City up as much as possible, get as many eyes on us and beyond, of course, beyond New York City. And, Lincoln has their own live streaming, so that game will be, you'll be able to watch that game.
Right.
So, that came into consideration why I was choosing, certain games.
Andre, I just want to take a quick second just to address like some of the comments in the chat. We had somebody that said Jakai is taking South Shore to an undefeated season. Jakai Plasmy. And then we had another comment that said Kendall Brown is QB1 for E-Hall. Those are 2 comments that I just want to address, man. I think that
we got full screen. Let's do it.
I'm curious to see, what is actually happening. We won't really know until the season starts. But those are. I mean, if those kids attend those schools and they're saying that those are the QB1s for those schools, that's very interesting.
Yeah, of course, we'll know. Like I said, we're about to get into my favorite time of the year. Like, I'm a media guy, but it's time to strap them up and play some football, right? So all of our questions are going to be answered. Who's the starter there?
Yeah.
But yeah, so just to talk in general, this is the full. If you came just for the schedule, here it is. We'll stick around for maybe another 10 minutes just to talk. Interact with the chat and everything like that. I wanted to talk about Canarsie because Canarsie had a tough season last year. They missed the playoffs. They still hold that higher rating. Let's say if there's a 11 rating versus a 9 rating. 11 means you have a tougher strength of schedule. Canarsie does have that 11 rating. And to start their season, of course, they're the first game of the week in Canarsie and Lincoln. And then they go travel to E-Hall. And then they travel to Curtis. There's no way anyone has a tougher start to the season than Canarsie.
No, I agree. They're in a gauntlet right away, man. It's nuts. They really put them through, some really tough teams to start, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm glad we're able to get that one against Lincoln, especially.
Yeah, so jumping into the conversation we're having now, if Canarsie gets 4 wins, they'll be in the playoffs. 4 wins is making the playoffs. 4 wins made the playoffs last year. 4 wins will definitely make the playoffs this year again. So
you mean for Canarsie?
For anyone, but especially Canarsie, because they have the stronger strength schedule.
Yeah, this is hard, man. Canarsie and Lincoln out the gate both have tough schedules, man. Oh my gosh.
Let me
Yeah.
take a look at Lincoln's schedule. Yeah, they go on a little stat. Yes, this is actually something I spoke with O'Connor about. Right in the middle of the season, they literally go on a road trip where
Yes.
they go to yeah, they go to Susan Wagner, to Tottenville, and then to Clinton. And it's not like when they come
That's
back
not
home,
easy.
it's Rosie. Yeah, when they come back home, it's Curtis, Newdorp, and E-Hall. So
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Nah, what I mean, 4A, Lincoln's used to it, but man, it's tough. And especially this year. Like, I felt like last year there wasn't too much parity in the league. I feel like this year it's going to be really, really interesting, especially, that the middle of the pack, of course, is going to be super competitive like last year. But I also think that, they're taking the next step. So, one of those higher end teams that has to go against someone in the middle of the pack, it's going to be difficult. And we're going to see a couple of those on the live streams here. So it's going to really tell a lot, and it's going to show, the growth that some of these programs have.
yeah, no, absolutely. And the last team I wanna highlight, just definitely want to take a look at Dewitt Clinton. I think they're making everyone's been talking about the leap that South Shore is making, of course. But again, we haven't seen a team in the Bronx. I looked at it. I mean, Lehman was in the Bronx. Excuse me, Lehman was in the top division almost 4 years ago now, and I know 2 of those years they didn't win a game. So, Clinton to make this big jump, they lost the boys and girls in the championship game.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they have high ambitions. They say, yo, we're ready to take that step, even though we fell short in that game. And just looking at their schedule out the gate, so they host McKee, Staten Island. They go to South Shore. They go to Utrecht. Then they host Eagle. So that's their first 4 out the gate. So what do you guys think about Clinton in that schedule?
I have Clinton. Let's see. I have Clinton winning maybe 4 games. 3 or 4 games. It's tough.
It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be a little, like welcome to the 4A at some point when they get, one of those really tough teams. But
Lincoln.
Clinton's got a lot of talent, I mean, they got, those skill players that we talked about earlier, like with Tyler Cabasa and that crew, they're going to win games. They definitely have the potential to, make the playoffs. But, we got to see how that line does. We got to see how the big fellas are. Because last year, that was a big strength for that team. A lot of them were seniors.
Yeah, man. So listen, we're gonna wrap it up here. I think I'm definitely gonna give a huge shout outs to you two, man. We're on here for 2 hours. I was having some mic issues. I was having some issues getting the stream started. That's live entertainment. You guys stuck with me, so huge flowers. Hold on, let's get all of us on the screen, man. Hold on. We've been talking for 2 hours, man.
This is the crew right here, man.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of the guests. Coach Trilz, Coach Jones from Eagle, Wayne Morgan from Lights Out and E Hall, Lree from Lree. South Shore, yes. Lree from South Shore. Really appreciate all of you guys, taking some time. I know it's talking is over. We're campus started for most people, so I appreciate you guys taking some time to speak to everyone here. We had, I would think we peaked at about 70-ish people. Really, this is only the beginning. Hopefully, if you guys like things like this, maybe we'll do more of these kind of online kind of stuff. But for me, listen, I gotta get to work. I gotta make sure I deliver all these games to you guys. So, Coach Mack, just take it away.
Nah, man, this is amazing. Like I said, when you showed us this platform and how it works, this is just like This is amazing. The city needs this. It brings more anticipation to these games. The kids enjoy it. The coaches enjoy it. I just hope that we continue to shine light on these programs. We continue to uplift New York City football, and just keep putting on for the city, man.
And
Jared?
Andre, I want to first off thank you for for having me today and having me and
Yeah.
Coach Mac come on, because this was, it was a blast. And also thanks to everyone in the chat, man, interacting. A lot
Yeah,
of fun. Of course we're talking sports. There's nothing better. And of course, talking New York City football, like it's the best. So, I had a really good time. Hopefully we get to do, more of this in the future. This platform is amazing. What Sage Media is doing is outstanding. And listen, man, New York City football, it's back. And, we're so close to the games happening, especially here on Sage Media. I'm going to be tuned into every single one of them. So I'm excited. And to the chat, man, don't go anywhere. A lot of games coming up, and good luck to all the players in here this season.
yeah.
Yes, like I said, this is talking is over. Hopefully, this is the official end of talking right here. I think
Time for the
we
bets.
spoke for 2 hours today. Talking is over. I'm saying it's time to strap it up. And my one thing for all of the young athletes here, have fun. And I know you got some washed up people on the live talking to you. Have fun. Do your TikToks on the bus on the way to the game. Make the jokes in the locker rooms. Make sure in every team, make sure the last man on the roster, the man that's never going to get into the game, make sure his experience is just as great as your experience on the field making plays, because these are, you have the opportunity to have friends for forever. You know what I'm saying? Win or lose, make sure everyone on your team has a great experience. Just like Lree was saying, we don't have any snaps left. None of us on this call have any snaps left. I'm sure. And one thing I can tell you, trust me, Andre Johnson, it was not my dream to record. I wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? Mac is doing a great job with the events. He wish he could play. Same with Jared. Jared does a great job covering all these events. We all wish that we could play again. You guys are playing now. Just compete like hell, but enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it. So make sure you guys do that. Again, appreciate everyone joining the chat. It was a great time. Thanks for staying up a little late with us. I'll post the full schedule